This podcast gives an insider's look at sex education and mental health. Join us as we go behind the scenes of the sex industry. Darlings, I'm Miss Darling, aka Juicy Dream, and I'll be the host for today. Today's podcast is going to be about Frolicon, which is a convention hosted once a year in Atlanta, and it's a perfect blend where nerdy meets naughty. And a little bit about me: I've explored kinks since 2014, and I've been active in the kink community since 2021. I have two special guests joining us today from Raw Release. In the vibrant city of Baltimore, Maryland, a new figure has emerged in the kink community, captivating the attention of those seeking a unique and intense experience. Meet Master Radiant, a skilled and experienced dominant who has been making waves in the scene for over a year. With a focus on multidisciplinary impact and authority-based dynamics, Master Radiant offers a comprehensive range of services that cater to those who are looking to explore pleasure in fun and exciting ways.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Last but not least, we have this hedonistic. She is an award-winning burlesque dancer who hit the ground running in 2024, winning the first emerging burlesque competition and performing in venues all over Georgia, including the Kiss My Grits Burlesque Fest in April of 2025 in Atlanta. And at 33 years old, she has a career as a licensed nail technician, a decade of experience in dance training and work, and has been in the Atlanta kink scene since 2014. She's an experimental jack of all trades. Her kinks range widely from exhibitionist to extreme pain to subby switch, little mommy dom, and well, just to name a few. But she'll try anything twice. Give her your pain. She's everyone's favorite Grady baby. It's Novocaine.
Hi, thank you for having me again.
Yes, of course. And Novocaine was one of my special guests also in my first podcast last year about sex down south. So very lucky to have her again too. I did want to ask both of you first, how long you have been going to Frolicon and how you heard of it.
So this year was actually my second Frolicon, but the first time I went was 2017, so quite a while ago. I don't know how I heard of it. Honestly, it's probably just was in the air being talked about during that time, and I was getting back into the scene fresh off a divorce, so I was, trying to see what I could get into. Yeah, so that's how I found out about it first. And then I came back this year because I was invited to perform. So
Yeah, and for me, I was actually at my local dungeon, just doing some scenes, and there was a person who came into the space, and my local dungeon is a very black space, so they came in and they were just like, "Oh yeah, you should really come to this convention. It would be really cool, this and that, third." And I was like, okay. So I looked it up. It looked great, and I just figured, why not? So this is actually my first year going.
Okay. Nice. And it's also my first time going to Frolicon. I heard about it from someone I met last month, and because I thought it was more of like a freaky. No, actually, honestly, I thought it was just like an anime convention. Um, and I do love anime, but I'm not like active enough watching it to want to go. But anyways, and not enough money for cosplay. So, but yes, and it was. I was surprised that it was more so like the combination of nerdy plus kink. So that was very exciting. As someone who's BIPOC, how would you say um, they helped us be there that you could see so far? Like, did you see any efforts, do you think, to be more inclusive?
yeah, I definitely noticed a drastic difference. Um, so the first time I went, like anyone who ask me, I'll tell them the first time I went was not a great time. Uh, 2017 was just a different vibe. It was it felt like a kind of a frat party, kind of college chaos kind of thing. I'm not saying there weren't people of color there, but nothing noteworthy. Um, as opposed to this year, I noticed multiple events that were labeled BIPOC or Black. Um, and I went to one thing. I didn't get to do as much as I blah blah blah. But I think just the way that if you just label something as BIPOC only or BIPOC forward, then um that really wasn't. I feel like also the anagram of BIPOC wasn't even used back then. It was just like
Right.
Black and others and everyone else. If you're not white, come over here. There wasn't that umbrella term. Um, so for 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 white people that plan events, they love that term. They love BIPOC. No shade to that term. It's a good encompassing term, but like it helps us to find where the rest of us are.
Right.
So I think just that label existing now has helped.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I know it was your first time, Master Radiant. So, were you able to participate in a lot of the BIPOC only, or in some of them, BIPOC only spaces?
Yeah, so I went to so I definitely saw them on the flyer, which was fantastic. I went to the BIPOC dungeon because a lot of the classes were actually falling on the same time as other classes I was really like specifically looking into going to. So I wasn't able to go to any of the classes, but I was able to go to the BIPOC dungeon, which was honestly really great. Like I think that other places I've been in cons, that's usually not even something that is even acknowledged, let alone like, something that's actually made space for. So I really had a good time. I think, when you think of Atlanta, you think of black people. So I kind of assumed that there was going to be at least some black people there. But I was definitely surprised that the event itself actually made space for it.
And I agree. I haven't. Well, I agree with both of you in different ways. So, like Novocaine, I was going to say the BIPOC term. Like that's honest. If we're being honest, I only relatively
Mhm.
recently, heard of that term. Maybe last year, possibly here and there. But yeah, I didn't think that they would actually have like these specific groups. I thought that was really cool because I've never heard of any con like Sex Down South. They specifically really focused on I would say BIPOC, of course, and queer, but the terminology is just new because I would have just said black, mainly black and people of color, right? Like because I also went to the BIPOC dungeon. Master Radiant, what would you say like was the main difference in maybe the scene styles? If you noticed any, was there a scene style difference or even a connection difference that you saw there?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me in general, and definitely in Frolicon as well, there's often a kind of like a social difference between black focused dungeons and non-black focused dungeons. I've noticed that in I'll just say white dungeons, it's very group oriented, where like each individual, or it's like very individual, where like I'm here with this person and we're doing this scene, and I'm not here to talk to anybody else. I'm not here to like really engage or interact with anyone besides the specific person I'm here for. And that's kind of been my experience in a lot of these places. But the with BIPOC Diner, there was a lot more of a communal feel to the environment. It was a lot of talking, a lot of collaborating. I was actually invited to co-top on a scene with somebody who I'd met the day before, who was just like, brought me in, explained their safeties, their traffic light systems, all that good stuff like that to help facilitate. But that doesn't happen in other places. Like, people don't really look to collaborate or look to bring people in, as far as I've seen in other places.
And then Novocaine, did you notice any difference
For the dungeon in specific?
from the ones you went? Or, well, which BIPOC events did you go
Well,
to?
so I was in the all black chocolate box review show, which is called Chocolate Box Dark Desires. So it's a subset of the Candy Box Review troupe that's based in Atlanta here. So that's the whole troupe, and then the black only subset is Chocolate Box. So I was invited to be a guest performer in that show, and that love that show. Like, obviously, I love the show because I was in it,
That was
but
great.
I loved the energy that we brought. It was a top notch cast of people that I look up to. A lot of performance, a lot of seniority. Not seniority, but like just like burlesque juggernauts, you know? And like an all black cast, not all BIPOC cast, an all black cast. It was
Yeah.
it was so great. Like, the energy backstage was really fun. And I'm happy that the turnout was so good. Um, Outside of the side note, very funny thing. Backstage we did an all hands in, like a cheer, 1, 2, 3, go type thing. And we just said on three we're gonna say 1, 2, 3.
Period.
That
Yeah.
was so funny. I was like, where else would I get to do that? Like, that was really funny. Outside of that show, I didn't go to the BIPOC dungeon. I was only there for half of Friday and then all of Saturday. I did go to the Frolicon after party in one of the hotel rooms. I think that's what it was called, Frolicon. Put on by BIPOC Frolicon group. I'm pretty sure. No, no, no. It wasn't exclusive, but it was put on by that group that I saw on FetLife, I think. And that was really fun. And it was a lot of us there. So, like, no, it wasn't exclusive, but I feel like it was like, y'all, come on. uh, the music was so good. I heard some songs I hadn't heard in a party since high school. Like,
Right.
I was like, so when was the last time I did the Cat Daddy? When was the last time I did? Oh my god. Like, Pop Lock and Drop It, like middle school. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was definitely giving. Yeah, it was the music part for me, and then of course, obviously, also us showing up for each other.
Mhm.
Because even in the all black burlesque show, I had never seen a completely black burlesque show, to be honest. Well, actually, I have it, but it was like years ago, and yeah, the energy was very
Mhm.
amazing. I didn't feel that energy regarding like any other burlesque show, I would say.
Oh.
Um I really just loved how we showed up for each other. Like, even in the audience, you could feel like how much we are hyping each other up, and the little jokes that we
Mhm.
have with each other. Like, it was, yeah, I thought that was amazing.
Mhm.
Um did either of you have any experiences with non-BIPOC people that you didn't think you would?
Yeah, I thought there was definitely one of the classes, and I'll shout him out, Strict Dave. He taught a class, Spanking 201, that I thought was really, really like thought provoking, in a way that I definitely didn't. I mean, I was expecting for a good class, but I definitely didn't expect to learn as much as I did. So that was definitely a big thing. We follow each other on Fet and stuff now. Um, And there were definitely some people out in the world who were cool as well, but Strict Dave specifically, he really taught me a lot of good stuff that I'm using to this day.
Nice. Okay. I did hear his class was really good. And like people went into it thinking like, what do I have to learn about spanking? Like thinking it's
Yeah.
just so simple. Yeah. And
Hmm.
yeah, I heard his corporal punishment classes also are really good. I
Hmm.
heard. That's really cool though.
Yeah.
And then Novocaine.
Yes. I had so I went into this with like no plan other than I'm performing on Saturday night. Anything else that happens, it's just gonna be whatever. Um, I have a friend who I've known for a long time. He had invited me to hang out Wednesday night. That was separate prior to con, but it was at the hotel. And then Saturday night, we ended up doing a scene together in the dungeon. So, like, fun fact about me, dungeons make me really anxious. I don't really go into the dungeon ever unless somebody invites me in or I walk in with somebody or there's something I'm set out to do. Oh, there's gonna be a demo. Everybody come watch. That's a thing to do. Just to go in and just to mingle and walk. No, I need structure. I'm on the spectrum. Can you tell? Um, I need a reason to go in. Um, so he invited me to go in. I didn't know why. I just knew, and I like this. This is a friend I liked for a long time, so I was like, I'll be there. I'm coming right now.
Okay.
So I left right after the show. I packed my shit and I headed over.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
I wasted no
Insert
time.
me.
I saw the text and said, "Y'all, I'll see y'all later. No pictures." Um,
Right.
and got in there. I actually ended up like watching him do a scene with his friends first, and then unbeknownst to me, he was like, "Oh, I'll be right back. We're gonna do a scene." And I was like, "Oh, me
Right.
too. Oh my god,
Right.
this is you?" So that was life changing. I don't have to get into details. It was an impact scene, and I like a
Okay.
lot of pain, and I experienced a lot of different new pains. Used an electric. I don't know the term for this thing. Electric one that does pop. Pop. It does pops.
Like a
I don't
catapult.
know. Not as strong, but yeah, it has the makings of it. That's what it seems like. But it was mild. It's just like a short zappies, right? Um, so that was used on me. I've never had that done, and I loved it. So that's now a new thing that I just want to reach the limits of. Um, so that was that, and then I also did uh, this wasn't like a dungeon thing, but I did acro yoga with this guy who is white, um, and that was really fun. I do a lot of acrobatic things, and I like to try new body strength exercise shit. So um, it was fun. It was like fun trust things to learn as far as having people lift you or trying to lift other people and do different poses, and it was yeah, that was really fun. Um, yeah, those two things.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So like both of y'all basically learned something new or was able to experience something you didn't think you would
Yeah.
going into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say the same. I would say the same because like I've never really since I've been in the kink community here, I really only went to like black only events for the most part,
Mhm.
just to feel safe. Because like I grew up north, and it was just a lot of racism. So I just didn't really want to even try to. I didn't want to deal with it at all.
Mhm.
So this was really shocking for me because I actually had my first sapphic scene as an adult, and when she was like, and yeah, and it was very nice. She was able to like we were able to connect. It was pickup play too,
Mm,
so
okay.
it was right, like, and it was for It was for the women's. I think it was like, yeah, all women's dungeon play party. So
Mhm.
that was really fun. I was able to just experience different things that I never had before, and also learn how to trust myself. Because for me, going into an environment where there are non-black people, I guess, or I'm a minority, I had to like trust myself that if something did happen that I was not comfortable with, that I'd be able to stand up for myself and not feel like bad or like the angry black person, you
Mhm.
know. So I thought that was really great to be able to experience that. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Um yeah, thank you. And then so in regards to your experience with Frolicon, would you say that would you recommend other BIPOC or Black people to go?
Yes, I personally would. I mean, I think so. It's interesting you were talking about pickup play because, like I said, my local kink bar, I'm the I'm like the pro dom there. So basically, like I show up and I'll do scenes with pretty much anybody who comes in. So I do pick up play all the time. It's like, it's pretty much like the main type of play that I do. So for me, going into the space was very much like, okay, this is, I'm not new to this. The truth is, like, I go in here and I'm going to, like, meet people and just kind of like get that whole thing going. And I think, like you were saying, the fact that there's actually even a space carved out for BIPOC. There's a space carved out for a women only dungeon. Like the fact that these things are already like kind of pre-established, I think that it kind of facilitates more people who maybe don't do pick up play to be willing or able to facilitate it in a safe way.
Mhm. I agree.
Um, would I rec- what was the question? Would I recommend
Mhm.
other?
To other
Yeah,
BIPOC or Black people.
yes, I would now. Would I have said that? Um, so in 2017, no. But they like the the way I had so much fun, and I did not feel othered. I didn't feel like
Mhm.
I didn't struggle to find like when I ran into you, I didn't, I was like, oh, okay, and then running into other people really quick. I was like, oh, we're all here. Like
Yeah.
that's I didn't realize like I've written this con off for so long as like that's the white one. I just
Mhm.
Mhm.
didn't think we was in there. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. And the more of us that show up, the more stuff that we're gonna have for us there. So, like, even if
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, only 20% of us are black or people of color, like,
Mhm.
still come because it's
Mhm.
only gonna
Yeah.
get better the more of us that come.
Mhm.
That's true. Kind of like what Master Radiant was saying, like regarding the what was it? So how like in the dungeon, for example, it did very because I did go to the um BIPOC dungeon, and yeah, it was very much so giving like community, safe. You can approach anyone and talk to them and chat with them. That's kind of how I felt walking around. Like if I saw another black person, I felt more safe or I felt more connected and like to the space in general, if that makes sense. You know, because
Mhm.
like when you feel when you are the only or the only five, it is a very different experience. But I would say in most groups, most areas, I mean, I would see at least I would see five in a given room, you know. So
Mm. If I can add something,
of course.
um, it's in terms of like not feeling like the other or the only one. So I also like grew up in North Georgia. I grew up around mostly white people, mostly white communities, and my friend group was mostly white, like high school, college, my early 20s. And when I got into kink, it was primarily white people. There was a smattering few other Black people, but for the most part, I was the token. And what's weird about being the token is that at first, it's real fun because everybody wants to know you, everybody wants to be your friend, everybody wants to play with you, and being like younger, like early 20s, I was just like, this is amazing because I love attention. Oh my God, put me in the middle of the room. Like, as long as people aren't ignoring me, I feel great, right? Um, then once it started to get that newness wears off, and then it's like, oh, like I don't have to get into like the very specifics, but I didn't get into the like Black kink scene until I started going to SDS.
Mm.
I think I just wasn't aware of like um I just didn't go to like all BIPOC munches or meetups or anything. Um and that was, I don't know how many years ago that was. 2019. No. Yeah. 2019. That's when I first went. Time isn't real. uh, but as in when you're talking about the communal vibe in the dungeon where everybody's mingling with everybody and nothing's separated and nothing's grouped off. In my head, I was like, that sounds like chaos. I was like, that sounds like something I would sit in the corner and be like, I don't know where to go and fit, and and that's probably just my own brain and nothing to do with race. But I don't know, that's interesting to know, and that will help me in the future if I choose to go into the dungeon space alone or like not with a set plan to just be prepared to mingle. Like that's new for me in a dungeon space. So
Yeah.
And I mean, I would also say too, it was also more so like, because I would say if it was Black only, but not, I'm not sure if it was queer friendly, that there's a lot of queer people there or queer focused, I probably still would have like this anxiety because for me, a lot of straight men are extremely intense toward me and very scary. And I'm like, yeah, I'm scared. I want to be here. Like, so yeah. But even a lot of the men I would say were queer. And again, it was 100% a queer friendly environment. But in the dungeon, I would say not only the community part that Master Radiant said, but it was like judgment free zone. And that's what I liked. Because, yeah, like you said, I mean, I'm really not someone who likes to socialize improv in the improv way. Like, I need to think about what I want to say, I need to have time. Um, I was like just in there, just dancing, doing like weird acrobatic stuff. And, people are like, ooh, ah, or they might, hype you up if you start twerking or something, right? But they respect um your private your space. um they acknowledge you from afar away, our little head nod, something like that. It was very nice. Like I felt like I could be in there and be to myself and still be a part of it, if that makes sense. you
just
know
exist. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know there was dancing. That changes things.
The music was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen.
Okay, that
Listen.
changes things because I love to just go in and vibe and dance. So
Exactly.
okay, cool.
Yes, Dawn, it's so funny that you say that because now that you mentioned that you were doing acrobatic stuff, I now remember seeing you there. I remember seeing you, and it was just like, I saw you doing your thing. You were focused. You looked great, by the way. But I was like, we locked in. So I'm not. What am I going to talk about? Just do what they got to do. So yeah, I definitely kind of to go with that same, like, people will talk if you kind of present yourself as a person who's open to talk, but if you are clearly doing your own thing,
Yeah. And yeah, because though I had met Master Radiant, like I think it was. I mean, I know it was really late. I think it was probably either late. It was late Saturday. I want to
yeah,
assume.
something like that. Yeah, I think
Like
so. Yeah,
I
yeah,
swear, like like 2 a.m. or something. I swear it was something crazy.
That's like,
Yeah, like just in the hallway. And so I think that's funny because yeah, like you
mhm,
said, like you're just you acknowledge people and you're like,
mhm,
oh cool, they in there, zone you. But if they present themselves as wanting to talk, then people are open. But yeah, like and I usually don't even do stuff like that. So I felt really safe. But like Novocaine, I'm on the spectrum, so I'm just like, look, I want to be here, but I don't want to socialize,
mhm,
but I want to experience everything. And so, you can just, I definitely want to spend more time next time there. I think I was only there for like probably 30 minutes or so.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I think next year it'll be even more fun because we're sharing our experiences in these different BIPOC groups, and some of us also didn't even know about them, right? So
yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah.
it will be. Um, and I didn't know how deep you both wanted to get in regards to things. I was going to ask like what kink wise, have you noticed like did you feel more comfortable to explore kinks when you were in a room with other BIPOC people, or do you think that mattered at all in regards to you being open to learning and even having something demonstrated on you if that was possible?
Mhm,
I don't think it mattered to me personally. I had other non-structured experiences like late Friday night party hopping with some people, uh,
mhm,
uh other black people, did some like light flogging and paddling, that's nothing new for me, but new there was shenanigans happening in the presidential suite loft that I happened to be in the mix of. And I'm not a group sex person. Like, again, I like attention on me, and diverted attention is like I'm not happy. But this just so happened to be really cool because like me and the two other black people I was with, we were vibing. We were doing our thing in the corner, massive ass bed, huge bed. So we were in this corner. We got three other people on this end of the bed and two other people behind me, and like stuff was going on. I'm locked into these two people, but like there's some like cross chatter happening, and like there was a funny moment where I'm like talking shit with the other black girl, like, oh my god, it's fucking blah, blah, blah. And it was like a cute, like, yes girl moment, but also like things going on at the same time while we're talking.
Okay.
It was that was new. It was a new social thing for me. Like as far as like kink specific, there's a lot that I've done. There's a
Mhm,
lot I haven't done, but I feel like sometimes that I've done so many things, it's hard to experience new stuff. But
mhm,
socially, I feel like I don't know, unlocked a new like.
mhm,
I'm not gonna say I'm like cool with group activities now, but I'm not. It's not like a hard limit anymore.
mhm,
I
okay.
would have to, I would have to feel the vibe. I would have to, but having other black people in the mix definitely helped because it, it matters. Like just the social part of group sex matters. It's not
Mhm,
all about the physical or
mhm,
the kink activities happening. Um, just to keep the mood up and exciting.
mhm.
Uh, so that's the thing that I'm going to keep in mind. Um, I don't, and I also forgot the question, but I think I answered
So
it
you
right.
did.
I already forgot. The more I talked, the less I remembered.
No, you're good. That was perfect.
mhm. Yeah, I think for me, I don't think there's really so I'm very much a top in general. Like I just like I'm I definitely consider myself a dom, but more so than a dom, I would consider myself more of a service top. Like I like to do the thing. I like to serve. I like to be helpful, to facilitate. That's really where I derive a lot of my you know, pleasure from. So with that being said, it's I'm not comfortable topping something that I haven't already explored in a public space where I don't know anybody, with strangers, right? Like if I'm going to explore something that I'm topping on, first I'm going to have someone that I know do it first to kind of understand the how it feels, what kind of have some empathy, and then from there I'm going to explore it with people I know, and then from there I can offer it as more of like a service or something that I in my repertoire. But so with that being said, I don't really, I'm I'm like an old band. I stick to my greatest hits to make sure that I got the stuff in. I do experimental when we're in the studio, but so
Okay. And so yeah, yours is more so because of like you being a top. So like
yeah.
did you have any bottom maybe like did any bottom react differently than you are used to, or did you have any new experience in regards to that, something relating to your bottom being different or doing something different?
Yeah, I actually did have I felt a relatively interesting experience. So I was talking to this person, and uh, they had never done an impact scene at all. Like that was like this was like their first time ever. And I had my floggers, I had my paddle, I had obviously my hands and everything. So I was like, okay, yeah, we could definitely. Like I said, I do a lot of pickup play, so I'm very good at kind of like walking someone through their first thing. But they were like, I don't want to do floggers. I don't want to do anything like intense. And I'm like, okay. And all the St. Andrew's crosses were taken, all the benches were taken. So I was like, okay, how do I like kind of do this? And shout out again to Strict Dave. He was talking about just putting someone over their knee and doing more of like a just like I'm sitting in a chair, you're over one knee, and with one hand, kind of like doing like an impact play scene like that, and kind of creating that same sort of like vibe, which is actually even a little more intimate because like you're fully connected with the person while you're doing the scene. So that actually was a new thing for me. I had never, well, I had people over my like lap, but never over like one leg, kind of like intimate in that sort of way. So it went really well. She was very receptive to the situation, and I'm glad I was able to walk her through something new. But like this was close enough to home base where I felt I was like, okay, I can, whether I'm spanking you on a Sanders cross or on my lap, it's ultimately the same thing, just kind of like with a new attitude, right? So it
Hmm.
it felt good.
Okay. So do you think you would are you going to implement that a little bit more, like the
Mhm.
intimacy part?
For
Or
sure, for
okay.
sure, yeah. I mean, and not to rehash all of Strict Dave's lessons, but one of the things that he was talking about in his class that I thought was really powerful was like he described a pyramid kind of like structure where it's like being the bottom part being like your actual skills, your actual like Florentine skills, your actual skills with the whip, with with your hands, whatever, right? Like your actual bare bones skills. The second layer being how to create a dynamic, how to create a mental connection with the person, whether that be role play, whether that be using your body to actually like physically move the person or whatever the case may be, right? Like doing things that are more um less technical and more like aura based, if for lack of better words. And then the top being like your actual, like, attractiveness of the person, and this and the third. But like that middle part was something that I hadn't really, because like I said, I do a lot of surface topping.
Mhm.
So it's, hey, how's it going? I'm Master Radiant, what do you want to do? These tools go through the scene, but I'm not like sexually touching you. I'm not really like doing, I'm not, dirty talking you. We're having a scene that's like, technically very good. The bottom row is fantastic, if I do say so myself. But like, I'm not really going into that second tier in most of my scenes. So that was definitely something that I am pushing in the future and currently, but like, that have been really trying to implement.
Okay. That's really cool though that you like were able to try something new. Like you literally went to a class and
Yeah.
then implemented it damn near right away because it's
Hmm.
like a 3-day conference.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was so good.
Okay, nice. Um, I was gonna say for me, I guess it was more so um similar to what Novocaine said. I mean, I really wasn't in I had like certain things I was just like, no, I'm not going to be interested in, like regarding the group play. Um and like, getting just being there and the energy and just
Hmm.
it changed
Explorative.
certain. Yes, exactly. Yeah, like I ended up changing my mind on a few different things, honestly, based on the vibes I was getting from people and just the experiences. Because, for example, with there being an orgy room, to me, with me just having bad experiences, honestly, for me, I automatically just assumed that if I walked in there, I had to, I guess, be in the orgy, if that makes sense. Like I didn't understand that you could just watch or they had like this light system going on regarding, who you're interested in, what you might be into. So I definitely next year would love to actually go in there and just see how I feel, watch and I thought it just had to go from 0 to 100. Like I'm walking in and I have to fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, like I don't know about that. But now that I know, I'm like, okay, all right, it's okay. Like, come on, just peek in there a little bit, see what's going on. Feel the
Hmm.
vibes. Hmm.
Um, a note about you're talking about the Rule 34
Hmm.
space, right? Yeah.
The orgy
Um,
room, yeah.
excuse me.
On the third floor, that one.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, the little light thing. I went in there for maybe like 15 minutes because I was hopping around with the people I was with. So I was like, let's just check it out. I didn't know it was considered the orgy room because when like I got the little light, I picked the light. I was like, whatever, do whatever, because I don't know. And I was surprised at how structured it was in there. They had station for everything. Some of the stations I didn't even peruse because it was so many different things. But there was a lot of just spectating
Hmm.
and a lot of socializing also. It wasn't just a dark, sweaty room, which is what I had experienced in 2017. There was a dark, sweaty room. I don't know what it was called. I don't know if it was necessarily an orgy. If it was labeled orgy, I don't know. I can't remember. But I remember there were a lot of air mattresses, a lot of tarps, and it was dank in there. There was music, but I didn't love the music. It was very low lit. Um, and th- that was the vibe in there was definitely more like you walk in here, you gotta be you not gotta be ready, but you should be prepared. Because it was too dark to really see anything for real, for real. Um, that was an interesting wouldn't do again, but that was long ago. This had so much more structure and more variety of things to do. I only saw one air mattress, and that's great. I don't have anything against air mattresses, but I don't love them. So like,
The way my back's on the floor.
No, seriously. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But it's like, oh well, I mean, it's there. If you
It's
know,
there. The one air mattress I saw, it was like 4 people on there doing fisting, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Um, so that I next year I will make more of a plan to like go in there, preferably, but also have a plan before going in there and then go in there. Because again, I'm like what's called pickup play.
yeah,
I don't do that. I like to plan and know who I'm going to be doing stuff with before I do it. So,
same.
but it does look interesting enough for me to want to participate.
Did y'all make any like would you say long lasting connections with people that you want to maybe meet with next year or just in general that you had a connection with?
Yeah, I would say so. I walked into this con not knowing anybody, so it was purely just like me by myself walking down, figure it out, and kind of go. So I actually like that sort of scenario because it's just easier for me to just kind of like not rest on my laurels of like my safety net of a friend group or whatever the case may be, and just really just get out there and meet new people. And um, I met some people, especially in the BIPOC dungeon, that I've met or matched with on FET and stuff like that. That I'm actually going to, continue to reach out to, especially when I come back down to Atlanta and stuff like that. Probably for STS, I'll be there as well, meeting a lot of these same sort of people. So, I really did enjoy getting out of my because I've been in Baltimore doing my thing, and I know a lot of people in the general DMV area. But like that's kind of like my safety net. It's rare that I go to a party where I don't know somebody in that area. So it was nice to get out of that zone and just kind of like you know remember that I don't need a safety net to be able to walk in my truth.
I love that. I love that. And you also were able to like experience meeting someone, well, other people in another state too. And a lot of
Hmm.
those people, a lot of the people who came were from out of state. So think
Hmm.
that's really amazing. What about you, Novocaine?
Did I meet anyone new? Um, I did meet some new people. As far as like lasting connections with like strangers, I've met a lot of people who are like, oh, like follow me on Instagram, I'll follow you. I tried to push my social skill. Like, despite what I'm saying, I actually do like going out and being social. It's just hard for me to do. It's not like I hate socializing. I do like socializing, but when it's hard, it's really hard. I have panic attacks. Um, but I made sure to at least if I saw someone that I had just even a short little like, oh, you're gorgeous. Oh, you're gorgeous too. And then like I made a point to like catch somebody as like I walked past them once and I caught them the other way and I was like, let me get your info because you're really pretty and da 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 da. Um, so in that regard, I've met a lot of new people. I ran into people I already know and gotten closer with people I already know. Um, but yeah, baby steps socially for me. But I did them, so I'm proud of myself for that. And I did not have a panic attack this year, which sounds drastic, but every sex kink con or event that I've been to since I started going to events, for the most part, I do have a panic attack. I did not this time. Yay me.
And that's
So,
valid too. Yeah,
Congratulations.
there's so many
you know,
people.
growth.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I didn't have fun in the other times, but this is
All
new.
of us.
Yeah.
hmm Well, I'm really glad for that
Yeah.
you were able to really like enjoy it truly.
Hmm.
Um, and I really, by the way, wanted to thank y'all for joining the podcast and talking about just your experience at Frolicon, because it really is important for me to be able to hear from like a range of people, especially BIPOC, so that we can, really just be able to connect in that way and be
Hmm.
able to have like that debrief kind of session, I guess you can say. I did want to ask, what was there anything that you had to do to prevent or reduce con drop if you experienced it?
For
Yeah.
me, I didn't go on Sunday. Like I was there Friday pretty much all day, Saturday pretty much all day, and then I was just like, yeah, I think I'm just going to stay home for this last one. I think I did what I needed to do. So that was me. But
Um, so for me, I originally, like if you look at my calendar, I didn't plan to go Friday at all. I was only planning to go Saturday. And I wasn't necessarily planning to have a full con experience. I was just gonna go, maybe hang out at the pool, maybe go to hang with some people or something before getting ready for the show. So, um, I didn't prepare myself at all time wise. I had work the morning after Saturday. Terrible planning. Um, I had but how did I deal with con drop? Okay. Um, my con drop was more so sub drop from the scene I had Saturday night. Not so much drop from the con itself. Um, but I have to hand it to my friend. I won't name drop, but like he really took care of me in above and beyond what I've ever received aftercare wise. Um, it not only like that night, but also like following up with me the day after and then days after, because like we're friends, so we text and whatever, but days after notice like we'll send gifts and things back and forth, and I sent something about sub drop and being emotional, and he was like, do you need more aftercare? This is a few days ago, Wednesday or something, and I was like, it's Wednesday, my dude. What do you mean? Like I this days later, I what else? What? Yeah, yes. I've never had anyone ask me days later if I needed more, and he was like, yeah, let me know what you need, and then so we um like we hung out on Saturday, and like it was like I'd never had anyone show me like your needs are not too much. If you need more, ask for more. Don't feel ashamed or like you're annoying somebody if you and it's okay to need days of aftercare post event, post scene, whatever. And I never even allowed myself to think about that. I have a lot of self-soothing techniques and I thug out my emotions on my own. Like so I that was like he really helped like help me process the whole thing, not just the scene, but just the convention in general. Because like I see him at SDS and other things too, so he knows how I feel about going to events like this. So I think connecting with my friends after convention and just talking about what happened and maybe even also I've been trying to find more events locally to maybe go to because I typically don't go um to a lot of things. Um I'll go to the SexCon once a year and or Sex on SouthCon once a year and be done. But that's not enough for me anymore. I want to get back into the swing of things, so just researching those things and slowly dabbling because so I don't feel like I'm, you know, uh leaving like it feels like, it kind of feels like you're like leaving a country and then going back to your hometown, and it's like I miss the community and the it's a sudden shock between regular life, but I don't want that shock to be a whole year between. I want to space it out. Um, that was a long-winded answer. Thanks.
No, I love it. Because I feel similar. Like I went into it knowing that well, I with me being neurodivergent, I just knew I would have to probably randomly take more time than usual to regroup myself, and like especially not me being introverted, but people always assuming I'm extroverted because of my personality. I knew I would be talking just a lot more than I'm used to, so I had to make sure that I was preparing for con drop, or essentially the feeling that you're explaining, relating to feeling like once you leave you're kind of like you're going back to that 9 to 5, or you're going back to whatever normal vanilla life, um and just kind of feeling like you're just feeling down, feeling like it was a vacation or a brief experience that you want to be able to expand more on. But I prepared by basically making sure I had a lot of time to think about and process during the con how I was feeling and how I could bring parts of the con, like whatever I want to put into my personal life, how I could like bring that, if that makes sense. That way I didn't feel just like, oh, I'm living like a double life, or like, oh, I can only experience this once a year. So I did something similar to you, like started thinking about like this was a great experience. I really want to have it more in my life. So I started trying to look into how I can do that, whether it's more events or more conferences, or where's the next, unrelated to Sex Down South, of course, like when is the next um, events I can go to where I can explore my kinks more, um, in a safe environment. And I think that's important because when you experience something like a conference that is embracing sexuality or kinks or things that are more taboo that you can't do on a regular basis, you do kind of feel, you can get depressed from experiencing all of these like highs and then going back to working or whatnot. So I think that's really important. And I'm glad you had mentioned that. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah.
I can definitely speak to that a little bit too. Like, and I'm very fortunate. One of my mentors, Miss Violet, she owns a kink bar in the city. So, like I'm doing this all the time. Like I said, I'm like the local service top. So like when I'm there, I'm constantly doing the thing. So it's not really like and I think that's kind of why my con drop wasn't really a thing. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go on Sunday. And then I was kind of like going because I do this so often that like it's just like relatively normal, in a weird way. So
I'm
yeah, I
trying
would
to get
definitely
there.
recommend, finding places that you can like, kind of facilitate that energy of doing scenes and being a part of like the life, and not have it just be such a jarring experience of start to finish.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. And I'm glad that we all basically were like, we learned something or experienced something at Frolicon to where we know we need it in our personal life in some
Mhm.
way. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of what that con is trying to do, right? It's trying to
Mhm.
teach us different things that we can put in our life, so that it's not just a once a year thing, right? And I'm really glad we were able to experience that. And those were really all the questions I had for today, for the most part, because I think we really were able to dive into a lot regarding this. All right. Well, thank you for joining. Have a good day.
Have a good one.